I'm your ice cream man, baby. Stop me when I'm passing by. Well, hey, at Harleys and Hairspray, we don't just appeal to the cerebral middle-ager.
No.
We also appeal to their teenage kids because we're repping the hats today.
Right.
A little Golden State, a little LA. We are from the West Coast. We're not from California, but our undisclosed location is on the West Coast. And so the hats are quite fitting because the West Coast, I think, is the best coast.
Oh.
Although it doesn't party as hard or stay open as late as the East Coast. But there's something very luxurious and languid and, would you say sanguine or sanguine or san... I think it's...
San Juan?
No, just absolutely positive and happy. Sanguine, sanguine.
I go sanguine.
Sanguine, okay. So we're sanguine on the West Coast, repping with the hats. So bring your teenagers along for this conversation of Harleys.
And hairspray.
Correct. We have a Harley parked below, and in the trunk of the Harley, the little pouch, it's only hairspray, just filled with hairspray.
Oh, yeah, because I got a lot of hair.
That's right. When I was younger, I had a big mullet, and I used a product called, by the way, sponsorships, shout out to sponsorships, a product called Dippity Doo.
Oh, come on, Dippity Doo.
You know Dippity Doo?
Dippity Doo and Dep Gel and Final Net Hairspray. Those are the 3.
I cemented my look. Literally
cemented.
Dippity Doo was, I look like, remember Darth Vader's black helmet?
Yes.
Okay, now imagine my curly mullet, but it moves as one piece, as a helmet. It was so, the Dippity Doo so cemented my look, it truly was a helmet. And
okay,
thanks,
so
Dippity Doo.
I can match that, because where you had the helmet, it's like I had the wings. Remember the big hair?
I do.
And you would like, the back combing and then up and over.
The Jersey bangs.
Oh, yeah.
The Jersey bangs that stood up like this.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Jersey bangs.
And that's art, baby.
Oh, all art.
That's art.
Talk about putting your heart into art.
Art. Or your hair.
What are we discussing today? Because yesterday we had 2 great episodes and they went so deeply.
We couldn't get away from each other. We were like 35 minutes long. We're still talking.
We couldn't
get out.
So I was completely inspired, and then this morning when I woke up, I thought, is my gas tank on empty?
Oh.
But I don't think it is. I feel great. We talked about, of course, my Christmas Carol episode where Santa was one of the homies, and you talked about your explorations in southern Manitoba. So what does the next chapter look like for you? I know that we both have a little bit of time this summer to be selfish, professionally selfish. So if you could paint your ideal, selfish, creative vignette of time, what would that look like? And so that you could be completely filled with joy at the thought of just feeding your soul.
Wow.
By the way, you and that hat is so fresh.
You like it, eh?
I really like the look.
All right. You know what? You know how old I am? The last time I wore a baseball cap, it did this.
Oh. Hello. I'm just going to have a drink now.
Okay. So that is a really wicked, awesome question. So if I could design it, right?
Absolutely. And you are a designer of your tomorrow.
For sure. And if I had no needs on my time, oh man, I'd pack light, some sort of backpack with whatever, a couple of journals. That's it. That's all I would need is a couple of, and my laptop, and some patchouli, and some rocks.
Patchouli, you say?
Oh, I love patchouli.
Please tell me you don't wear socks and Birkenstocks.
Oh dear God, no. But you know what is so
with...
good? Calvin Klein Obsession with a little bit of patchouli.
Okay.
It's like and earth at the same time. And I would go on an adventure to really windy places because there's something about the wind that brings me inspiration. Like I hear things, I see things, I go on journeys. Like the wind invites me into a journey and off I go. Like it's that easy for me. And then there's stories that come and visuals that come. I get so much from the wind.
Here's what I appreciate about that. There's a self-knowledge and a self-awareness in you that guides you to places that move you and catalyze your moments of inspiration. So the obvious question for our beautiful viewers and their teenagers, with sight, and their LA, the obvious question is, do y'all, our undisclosed location is not in Texas, do y'all know what those places are for you that move you and inspire you, and when you need a little shot of spiritual gasoline, what those places are where you can immediately take yourself there and have your environment catalyze the next chapter of your growth or inspiration? You do.
I do.
So
I do.
it could be a really windy rainforest, or it could be the windy city of Chicago.
Totally.
Or it could be the wind.
The wind is huge.
Hold on, what's your sign? Your zodiac sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
Is that an air sign?
Oh no, it's Earth.
Earth.
I'm like
patchouli.
I'm like that chick on the side of a mountain. It's like I got the goat on the side of the mountain who was like, how the hell did she get up there and how does she get down? Like, hey, I'm fine. I'm good. I know I'm on the side of a mountain, but my feet are firmly planted. The wind will blow and I will be fine.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So that's me. And I just want to wrap in a little bit of what you were saying there, and I want to ask you about yours.
Of course.
There's part of it is fueling up, but part of it is also nestling in, like coming home. Like where do I go? And I don't mean home like resting. I mean like where do I go where if the rest of my life feels fragmented, needs, different needs, whatever the things are, deadlines, whatever. Where is that place where all the fragments can come back into place? That isn't about sleep or just like having a good meal and hanging out. It's like, no, where is that place where you can hear yourself again? And for me, it's in windy places.
And that feels like home. Has it always been that way, or has it transitioned and changed throughout your evolution?
No, it's always been like that. Post when you're a kid and home just feels like where your hot meal is and you get to rest your head. I remember as a young woman, like in my early 20s, kind of stumbling into that Gulf Island feeling. And I did a Gulf Island tour of a show that I wrote. And there was 5 of us in a van and a baby, because one of the cast members had just had a baby. And we toured the Gulf Islands, and we had no money.
That's in British Columbia, is it not?
Yeah, we did Main Island. We did a bunch of them. Oh, did I just help our non? Oh no, we said West Coast and say non-disclosed place.
I just wanted to let. I also work for Tourism British Columbia, so I wanted to let the listeners know.
Sponsorship.
We're all about the sponsors,
so
come on up to the Gulf Islands in British Columbia.
We can get a hat with the Gulf Islands on it, not San Francisco. Okay. For sure. And I remember being on that tour. And again, flying by the seat of my pants. I remember going to, not Denman, but Hornby. Hornby Island was one of the places that we were putting the show up. And we didn't even have a place to stay. And we got there and someone gave us their house, like saw us like getting ready at the venue, at the hall, and going, you don't have a place to stay? Well, come stay in our house. Yeah. So that happened. But I remember specifically on that trip being on Main Island. And we had this, I had just seen the movie Antonia's Line, which is absolutely like one of my all-time favorite movies. Whole other conversation.
I've never even heard of it.
Antonia's Line. It's a Danish film about a woman who wakes up one morning on a farm, elderly woman, wakes up and says, today's the day I'm going to die.
Oh.
And the rest of the movie is watching her lineage on this farm. So and they have these, and it's a foreign film, so it's all in subtitles. And there's a scene in it where the whole lineage sits outside on a picnic table and eats together. And so we're at this hall on Main Island, and there's this gorgeous cypress tree outside of the hall with a big ass picnic table, and we would gather every night, either before the show or after the show, and have a meal together. And of course, Main Island is right off the Pacific coast. So you get the beautiful wind from the ocean and the tree, and of course, doing what I love, which is art. And that is the first time I discovered this is what home feels like for me.
Oh, that's beautiful. And it just locks in. absolutely, you can describe it, but it's not descriptive. It's a feeling,
Yeah.
right? And when that feeling locks in, you know exactly. For me, it is, I've been to two places that felt that way. One is Rio and one is Miami. And they both have the same quality of, here is the ocean, and it's overwhelming in its power, but it's also very welcoming and enticing with its temperature and its beauty and its green. And then there's something about the spirit of the people, both in Rio and Miami, where they truly celebrate each day. It's not about money, and it's not about wealth, and of course that all of that socioeconomic standards play a role in all of that. But it's not about that. It's about celebrating the moment. And there's music in both places on the streets, and the music always feels like summer. The music, it has a specific quality.
Yes,
so whether it's salsa or bachata or merengue or whatever, but it feels like summer. It's never heavy. It's not like, it's never Bon Iver.
I don't even know who that is.
You know, it's never Sarah McLachlan.
Oh, okay,
In the eyes. It's never that. It's more like it feels like a celebration of life. When I listen to Sarah McLachlan, it never, I appreciate what she does, she never feels like she's celebrating life. She is completely into her sorrow, and she milks it and celebrates that.
Yeah, for sure.
I celebrate, to me, the joy is that music on the streets that makes your blood boil. But it works in tandem with the temperature, and it works in tandem with the people and the culture and the vibrancy. And you could hear it at 4 in the morning, or you could hear it after breakfast at 10 in the morning, and it's always the same quality. It's just a different shape of summer. There's summer with new life and the dawn, and there's summer with a little bit of danger and sex appeal at dusk. But it's always the same quality of the celebration of life. So that to me feels like home.
Wow.
And that's what I try to create in my daily life. But it's so hard because I live in such a pacified place. It's so naturally quiet.
Yes.
The nature is beautiful, but it's quiet. The demographic of the people is wonderful and warm and inviting, but quiet.
Yes.
There isn't that, joie de vivre, that Cinco de Mayo every day. Every day is Cinco de Mayo or Dia de la Muerte, but whatever. But every day is that on the edge. And that feels like home to me.
Wow.
So
that feels like home to you. That kind of vibrancy.
The noise of summer with the feeling, the summer breezes, the music, the people, everybody's happier in the summer. So everybody's just vibrating there on the sphere, on the wave of happiness. That feels like home. I would never get tired of that feeling, ever.
Okay, so I have a theory. I'm curious if this is true for you. And if you're listening, just hang in and let's see if this is true for you.
So find your home. Find what feels right. That's really the undercurrent.
And here's where I want to go with knowing what feels right.
Yes.
I'm curious if for you, it's a match because the externals of Miami and what was the other one? Miami and Rio.
Yes.
Match the way you feel inside.
Yes. I feel like a timeless, energetic, really charismatic, super sexy Latin lover. And I'm some of those. I'm not necessarily all of those, but I feel those are the best parts of me. Those are the parts of me that I like the most.
Right. Okay.
Irrelevant of how those parts of me are seen by others. Those are my favorite parts of my makeup. And so I need to lock in with an environment that promotes that and reflects that in the best possible way.
Cool. So here's where I go with that. I'm just noticing the difference in our description. And I'm like, I wonder if that's because that's I'll finish that thought in a second. Okay. So for me, the first time I went to Tofino on the West Coast, I was like, whoa, this is a match for me.
Okay.
Because I am such a huge energy on the inside. I have so much going on. And I don't just mean my brain is moving. I mean, like I have impulses, I have thoughts, I have creativity, I've got like fire, I've got all kinds of things. Like my inner life is really dynamic. And so when I go to Tofino and I realize this space is so much bigger than me, I feel small. And in that smallness, I'm like, I can relax. And it's a match because the bigness on the outside matches the bigness on the inside,
Right.
which is also why I live where I live, because it feels like I'm surrounded by the bigness of nature, which totally balances out my bigness on the inside. And what I heard you say was kind of similar, but from a different need, if you will. But like, so you're Latin lover,
That's right.
Cinco de Mayo every day feeling in your life. You go to places that match that, and you're like, fuck yeah, I can like let my guard down. I don't have to be anything for anybody else. I just have to. This is like a match. This is where I fit.
I'm in my default position
Mm.
right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that position.
Yeah.
My default, it may be one of my favorite positions
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have to put on a show and there are no jazz hands. In my natural state, those places are my natural habitat.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, and it's my most as restless and energized as it seems,
Mm-hmm.
it's the most restful natural fit.
So let's take this.
It's a homecoming.
Yes. So let's take this into art.
Yes.
How does that apply for you as an artist? That feeling of being at home or having a match, or you're with your people. Like what happens for you there artistically?
Moods.
Oh,
Moods.
say more. Ooh, I love the big exhale. Something big's coming.
Yeah, my people are definitely important, but they're not compulsory. My people sometimes distract me from a true in-depth excavation.
Okay.
But I've graduated and been elated at the thought of graduating with a big degree and having put a chapter behind me. I'm like, woohoo, let's celebrate. And I know what that music sounds like if I write it. I've lost a deep and dear love. And I know what the bottomless pit of emptiness feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a perfect music that I would compose for that.
Mm.
So when I talk about coming home, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
Miami or Rio that matches my default position, in art, the homecoming is a true match between what I'm currently experiencing in life. Yesterday I was talking about empty nesting and how that is a combination of both pride and joy for my children and a really noisy emptiness in my house and a vacuum in my heart, in my and I feel it physically. So that is when I engage in art, it has to be reflective of the moment, of my human condition in that moment, in that chapter of my life, because I see it as a diary entry.
Mm-hmm.
So, dear diary, today, this is what's happening in my world. This is part of my journey. And so if I am making this diary entry, what would be the perfect soundtrack to accompany that diary entry? And you're a words person, and I'm a music person. So if you were writing my diary entry using your most articulate, colorful, fitting words, and I would soundtrack that with the most fitting tone partnership, musical partnership, color partnership, that's what homecoming is to me. Moods. This is where I am today. What does that sound like? How can I craft that? And if I can't get there, can I get in a room with somebody who can help me get there? If there's a block, can I find a collaborator who can unblock me? Because sometimes I'll get in my own way and I'll go to my habitual mode of working. I write this when I'm sad in this way. And it's always Kiss from a Rose, or it's always,
Right.
swirling and moody. Is there a different way to express that maybe will come at it from a different direction? And if I can't get there, can one of my people in a room with me understand what I'm going through and maybe unlock a new path? But it's always, the homecoming is always about matching what I'm going through at the moment, because it's truly reflective of me that way. The way Miami is reflective of my default position.
Wow. So you went totally in a direction I wasn't going.
Oh.
And yet I get why you went there, because what you just did was you took the Rio experience of your default and created that mirror of what art creation feels like for you.
Yes.
So there's a match between what you're putting out there and what's going on for you, and that's homecoming
Yeah.
for you.
Because even if I'm in Rio and I love a good caipirinha
Mm-hmm.
on a hot day, I may be in a Greek food mood one day.
Mm-hmm.
I might be in a sushi mood. My default is still the Rio caipirinha and the celebration of life and the salsa. But on a Tuesday at 4 p.m., I might be in a pakora mood.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some naan bread, right? It's not always my default is a constant, but what happens above that are the various fluctuations of life that come at you, like the tides. And sometimes it's a tsunami, and sometimes it's a very gentle rolling. You don't even notice how subtle the wave is that rolls in because the tide is so serene and peaceful. So I react to the tsunami one way, and I react to a rolling in gentle wave a different way, knowing that at the end of all of those reactions, my default is still a caipirinha in Rio. And that's really, at the end of the roller coaster, I can come home and go, the music in the streets, the lowriders, the energy of the Atlantic. I know the West Coast is the best coast, but there's something about the Atlantic Ocean and the energy of warm climates that's kind of untouchable.
See that in him. Don't you see that in him? Like, come on.
It's the truth. So what about you? Let's take your question and mirror it.
So for me, and I'll just go to the direction I was going. It was like, what does that mean for me? That homecoming, that bigness, that space in my own artistic process. What's it like when I go and spend time in those in my default place, right? And the interesting thing for me is when I've gone away to write or create in those default places, I have created like big pieces, whatever the big pieces are for me. Like I think of the three big pieces that pieces of art that like changed everything for me, big three plays. But so that's my way of saying when I feel like there's a match, I will take big risks. I will go way out on the skinny branches into places like I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Or like when I wrote my second show, I was in a cabin on Pender Island by myself for 5 weeks. And I remember going, oh my God, is this place haunted? Like what's going? Like I started to see doors close on their own, which of course wasn't happening. But I was in such a sensorially aware place. Like all of my senses were like, that I started seeing things that weren't happening. So when I say like in those homecoming default places, I will take way bigger risks. So that happens for me. And I maybe even more emotional landscape type risks, right? Where I'm willing to lose myself in something and not be able to locate. In fact, I'm getting lost on purpose. I am purposely letting myself drown for a while.
That is so beautiful and necessary.
Right?
Are you guys doing that?
Scary as fuck, though.
So beautiful and so necessary.
I agree. Yes, it's like a sensorial bath, and you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Scary as fuck, though. Like, how many people do you know who actually sign up for that?
Yeah.
But wow, it's a soulful journey.
I just see the slingshot. Did I bring this up? The idea of a slingshot where you pull the elastic back as far as possible, and the further you pull it back, the further it travels, whatever your stone or your arrow or whatever. But you are on purpose pulling back the elastic as much as possible to really challenge yourself and bring in friction, because you know that friction and that challenge will, in the opposite direction, push you further. So you must have the friction to have the forward motion and the success. The contact improv.
The contact improv, and you're contacting the depths, right?
That's
whatever those are. Okay, and then the other reason why I do this kind of stuff, sometimes it's not about taking the big risks. It's just about filling up so that I can go home and write something really surfacey. But when I say surfacey, I mean just not drowning, but is creative. Like sometimes our tank is empty. Sometimes the tank is empty. Like, and that happens. So where do I need to go to fuel up so that I can come back and create a whole bunch of other stuff? where the wind is.
I'm going to say hi to my dog.
Okay.
But carry on. He's
Oh.
he just finished a long walk.
Did
He
you
wants
have a
to say
long
hello.
walk?
Hello, my love.
Ma, hello, Maximus. This is Maximus. Say hi.
He's our Harleys and Hairspray dog. Are you a little slobbery, buddy?
So he just went to his fill up default masterful. I was going to say mastermind. I don't know. Did you have a mastermind? Is that what happened?
He likes to chase deer where we are and squirrels. And he's an old and sophisticated man, but he still goes to his default places.
You're very beautiful.
You know what I love about dogs? They're so...
Their breath of their
Oh.
smell of their breath?
I'm 9 and I haven't brushed my teeth my entire life is definitely a bonus. But I love the fact that they're honest. They just are in the universe.
Yeah, right?
They just honestly exist in the universe, and there's nothing pretentious. Everything's real. I love that the most. And so,
Ooh.
Max, so you brought that on yourself.
I
'cause you're
did.
so,
I
he
did.
loves
I
you so
stepped
much.
right into it.
Maximus is so honest about living in the moment. Every morning he wakes up, his tail's wagging. He sees me. I'm awake. He's at one with nature. He only barks when he needs to. He's perfected dog living. The essence of what it means to be a dog. I learn from that all the time and remind myself how far I've yet to go so I can perfect the essence of human living.
Well, he doesn't need a slingshot to get there.
That's true. So anyway, that's my lesson du jour. What do you think? Any parting thoughts for this particular?
No, I think we got it. I think the invitation for all of you was a homecoming for
What?
you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. What are those places that feel like wind or salsa on the Atlantic or, chasing the deer in the forest? What is that place? Because those places feed you, replenish you, and move you forward, inspire you to move forward. And you must find them, and you must make time. That's perfectly selfish time to go to those places. Because only you can do that.
All right, let's see it. Let us know. Where are those places?
Get your passport.
Oh, yeah.
See you later.
I'm your ice cream man, baby.